From the Gulf States Newsroom, this is the Gulf States Gumbo, your weekly serving of stories from Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. I'm community engagement reporter Elise Gregg, chopping it up this week. Okay, so I need you to settle in for this one. We're going to walk through a few timelines, and there will be some numbers in this episode.
Yep, it's true. Numbers, dates, legal documents.
Senior reporter Drew Hawkins is here.
Hi.
And we're going to break down his investigation into Louisiana elected officials signing non-disclosure agreements.
That's right.
But before we get into it, we do need to set up a little bit of background here.
Yeah, set the stage, if you will.
Starting with Louisiana's Governor Jeff Landry making an announcement in Shreveport at the end of February.
Because Amazon is investing $12 billion to construct a multi-technology campus between Caddo and Bossier.
So, Drew, give us the details on what's happening here.
Right. So Landry is standing on stage at the Shreveport Municipal Auditorium. And what he's announcing is a massive $12 billion data center project that Amazon is building in Caddo and Bossier parishes in the northwest corner of the state.
But that's not where this story actually starts.
No, that's right. You actually need to go back a few more months for this one. So, Elise, if you will indulge me, let's hop in our handy little time machine that we have here in the studio.
Okay, I'm buckled in. I've got a good playlist ready to go. How far back and where are we going?
So this time machine actually isn't super great. It can only go back a few months, but that is all we need for this. And we're actually not going anywhere. We're still in Shreveport, Louisiana. And it's around the end of November last year.
Okay, gotcha. So what's happening?
Well, if you're Abigail Whittington, you're someone who's lived in Shreveport and Bossier Parish your whole life. And the way she puts it, the border separating the two places really only exists on a map.
It's literally just a bridge that keeps us apart. So like Shreveport Bossier is kind of the same thing.
And you hear this rumor circulating around town that there might be a data center coming.
Yeah, this is something that's popping up all over the place, right? Companies building these data centers to power artificial intelligence.
Exactly. Data centers are definitely in the news a lot right now, right? They're these massive, almost like warehouses packed with computer servers. And they power things like cloud computing, AI or artificial intelligence, and streaming services. And also in the news a lot is how these facilities can impact communities.
The noise concerns, especially for the people that are going to be right there on top of the data center, but, water, electricity bills.
So data centers are notorious for their appetite for electricity and water, and for bringing noise, pollution, and heavy construction into the neighborhoods where they're built.
Right. So she hears about a possible data center and she's concerned about how it might impact her community.
That's exactly right. And so because it's just a rumor, she figures she should ask some people who know more about it, her elected officials. And that's exactly what she does. She calls Bossier and Caddo Parish state representatives and state senators, and she calls her mayor's office a bunch of times.
I've left him, I don't even know how many voicemails.
Okay, so what are they telling her when she asks about the potential data center? I'm guessing if she's leaving voicemails, her mayor is not picking up the phone.
You are correct. Her mayor would not get back to her, but neither would anyone else that she reached out to.
Wait, really none of them? I mean, I know elected officials can be busy, but it seems like they could answer a specific question about a specific project that's coming to the area they represent, right?
I mean, you would think that, but every one of the people she called, they had all signed NDAs.
Okay, I think many people have heard of NDAs, but what are they exactly?
So basically, non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs, are legal contracts that prohibit people from sharing certain information. And they're pretty common in private business deals. So before Governor Landry's announcement, NDAs had concealed Amazon's identity and the nature of the development from the public.
Okay, so is this a common thing, like elected officials signing these NDAs?
In Louisiana, no. This is a new and emerging practice under Governor Jeff Landry. And I worked with Type Investigations and got the records from Louisiana Economic Development, or LED, the state agency that focuses on attracting businesses. And what I found is that at least 50 public officials have signed NDAs since Landry took office.
Okay, wow, that's not a small number. So I'm curious, how did you find that out and how did you get these records?
Yeah, so LED, the state agency I just mentioned, they're sort of this middleman. right? They're setting up these negotiations between companies and local officials. And because they're a state agency, they're subject to records requests. So those NDAs, you can get them through public records requests.
Okay, interesting. So what do these NDAs look like? Like, what do they say?
So to be honest, I mean, they're actually kind of boring. They're all boilerplate. They all look pretty much the same. They talk about big developments as, quote, opportunity with a capital O. And they say that by signing the agreement, you can't talk about anything related to that opportunity.
Gotcha. So there's not like a meeting agenda or notes about what they actually talked about.
No, there isn't. And that's a kind of a challenge and something I'm looking into. But for now, what we know is that these elected officials sign these agreements, and there have been instances where residents, like Abigail Whittington in Shreveport, she asked them about potential developments, and they wouldn't answer her.
Okay, and you said LED is sort of the middleman here, setting up these talks between companies and local officials. So this is something they've done before then?
Actually, no. In addition to the records during the Landry administration, I also got the records from the last 4 years of the previous governor, John Bel Edwards. And in those records, not a single elected official signed an NDA.
None?
Zero. Nada. Zilch.
Okay. So who are these elected officials who are now signing NDAs?
So it's a really wide range of people. You've got state representatives, state senators, the lieutenant governor, mayors, city council members, a sheriff, and there's even actually a school board superintendent.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, I mean, every single parish in Louisiana has at least one elected official who has signed an NDA.
Okay, so why are they signing these agreements? Like, what's the reasoning?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question, Elise. And that's exactly what I asked LED Secretary Susan Bourgeois.
The irony is that we use NDAs not to be more cloaked. We use NDAs to be more forthcoming.
Okay, so signing NDAs to be more forthcoming. How does that work? Don't these agreements prevent people from sharing information?
So her argument is that by having companies and elected officials sign NDAs, those companies are more willing to engage and negotiate with them. Bourgeois said the agreements are really fundamental for economic development. In addition to the Amazon project, they've been used to conceal several major developments, including the Meta data center in Richland Parish and the Hyundai steel mill in Ascension Parish.
Without NDAs, our work, frankly, it just doesn't happen.
And Bourgeois also gave a few other reasons why the NDAs are necessary. She said a publicly traded company may not be able to disclose project plans to its shareholders before a formal announcement. A company scouting multiple states doesn't want Louisiana to know what, for instance, Mississippi is offering, or vice versa, right? And a business may not want competitors to know that it's eyeing a particular region at all. She said keeping those details locked down makes Louisiana more competitive.
Right, but haven't there been business deals in the past that didn't involve NDAs? Why are they needed now?
Another great question, Elise. Yes, there have been many business deals that have been done without an NDA. In fact, I would say maybe even most business deals are done without NDAs. And this is also a question that I asked the elected officials who signed them.
Wait, so you asked what, 50 of them, I think you said?
Yep. I reached out to all 50 elected officials who signed an NDA, multiple times, actually.
All right. And what did they have to say?
Well, only 3 got back to me, including the mayor of Shreveport, Tom Arsenault. And I asked him if he'd had business negotiations as mayor with companies where there weren't any NDAs. And he said that yes, he had. So then I asked, well, why was this time different? And he wrote back that it was, quote, the wishes of the businesses and the sensitivity of the information.
Okay, so because the company wanted it and because of the information. What kind of information are we actually talking about here?
So the truth is we don't actually know, right? Because that's kind of the nature of an NDA. They can't tell us what they talked about. But I reached out to a few experts about this, including Pat Garofalo. He's a researcher at the American Economic Liberties Project. And he said that the questions residents would have wouldn't be about, proprietary, sensitive information.
They're not asking for the formula to new Coke, right? They don't need to know the specific recipe for the secret sauce on the Whopper, right? They want to know how it's going to affect them.
Yeah, that makes sense. People aren't trying to steal company secrets by asking if a new facility is being built in their neighborhood.
Exactly. I mean, they just want basic answers to basic questions.
What is it? Where is it going to be? What kind of resources is it going to take? Like, is it getting subsidized by taxpayers? Is it going to need X amount of power? or water? How much traffic is there going to be?
Okay, but what about this idea of being more competitive? Like Louisiana has a leg up on landing big economic projects because of these NDAs.
Well, Garofalo said that argument also doesn't make sense. Because when public officials sign NDAs, they can't talk about the project with public officials in Mississippi, for example. They can't say like, hey, this company is offering us this. What are they offering you? So they can get a better deal, right? So Garofalo said the agreements don't really make a state more competitive. They just keep communities from knowing what's coming.
The actual goal is to prevent public input into what are often very contentious negotiations, to try and put off revealing to the public specific details about the project that they might not like until as late in the process as possible.
Okay, and the LED secretary said this is an intentional choice by the Landry administration to use NDAs, right?
Yes, she said it's actually a key part of their approach to economic development.
Okay, so how do other lawmakers feel about this? Like, are they all on board?
No, they're not, actually. I talked to a state representative, Danny McCormick. He's a Republican who represents Caddo Parish, and he said the NDAs are used for a simpler reason.
The reason for the NDAs is they don't want the little people to know what they're doing until after they've done it.
Okay, he gets right into it, doesn't he?
Straight no chaser there. And what's crazy, though, is McCormick said that even he didn't know about the Amazon project before the announcement. And he represents one of the parishes where it's being built. And that's all because he didn't sign an NDA.
Oh, wow.
Wow is right. With these NDAs, you've got residents like Abigail Whittington in Shreveport and even some lawmakers who actually represent the region who don't know about these giant projects until the deal is already done. By the time Amazon's $12 billion project was announced, the question of whether or not Shreveport wanted it had really already been answered for them.
Right. So Abigail Whittington in Shreveport, when the Amazon project was announced and she found out about the NDAs, what did she say?
Well, she was not too happy.
I think it's bullshit that any elected official can sign an NDA about a project that is coming to the people's city. And I think that all of our elected officials need to remember that they work for us and we voted them in.
She brings up a good point, though, like democracy. People voted for these elected officials. But if they sign NDAs, then they can't talk to their constituents about projects that will affect them. I mean, that seems like a bad thing.
Well, that's what a legal expert I talked to said.
Government business is the public's business.
That's Bruce Hamilton. He's the director of the First Amendment Clinic at Tulane Law School.
When NDAs are used in the government to silence public officials or to make the public business less transparent, everyone in Louisiana suffers.
So when he says the public's business, is he suggesting that the public has the right to know, like, every single thing their elected officials are doing?
That's really a fair question. And that's one of the things that Bourgeois, the LED secretary, that's what she said. Like, you can't expect an elected official to keep their constituents updated about every single thing they're doing, right? But what Hamilton said is that there's a big difference between, like a constituent asking to know every single thing and every little detail about a negotiation and someone asking a direct question about a specific project that will be built in their neighborhood.
All right. Senior reporter Drew Hawkins, thank you for joining us and for breaking down your investigation.
You are so welcome, Elise. Do you mind returning the time machine to the studio for me?
Yeah, no problem. I'll bring it back.
Make sure you check for your phone. I swear I'm always leaving mine in there.
All righty, will do. This week's show is cooked up by the Gulf States Newsroom team. Our theme music is by DJ Supreme. Special thanks to our partner stations WBHM, Mississippi Public Broadcasting, WWNO, and WRKF. You can find us in your podcast feeds every Friday. Look us up and be sure to subscribe. Again, I'm your host, Elise Gregg. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to stir your brew.